Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play MediEvil for PS1. Well, I've put this off for long enough after doing everything that I possibly could, and even beating the pumpkin serpent, but we gotta do this now. We gotta go to the sleeping village, because we can't do anything in Enchanted Earth. We've done everything else we possibly can. And this one will be a bit difficult if you don't know what to do. So, cutscene. And the sleeping village begins. Guess what? We're finally going to have to deal with the hypnotized townspeople. Sadly.
Poor villagers. The master possesses them. It mustn't hurt them. Hurt guards, though. They seek out an object of great power.
And thankfully you'll be able to tell the guards from the townspeople. But now that Sir Daniel Fortescue finally knows, we can't hurt the townspeople. So, if you couldn't already tell, we have 59% for the chalice already. If we hurt, or rather kill, one townsperson, that will go down, and it basically ruins our chances of getting the talisman. Or the chalice. I can't speak to save my life right now. So, don't hurt the townspeople. Had to get a drink of tea there. There are 3 kinds of townspeople that you'll meet. And one of them will be right there. That's the little girl. She's fairly fast. She will chase after you with the axe. There's also the men who come after you with axes. You definitely don't want to hurt them. There's an energy vial I'm going to save for later. And ow. There's also a third one, the women. You've already seen them in the little loading screen there. You can't hurt them. Well, you can, but you shouldn't. But if you need to get them out of your way, use the daring dash and also run into them with the daring dash. You can actually run into the townspeople and stun them for a couple of seconds if you use the daring dash and run into them head on with it. So we just entered the church, and there's a book here. A crucifix once stood here, but the mayor took it. Find a replacement and see how the church should really look. So if you don't know what you're doing, this can be tough. This can be very, very tough. And there are plenty of places for you to go. For instance, there's this place right here. What we need to do, well, we might as well do it anyway, even though we'll have to do it later on. We might as well do it now because we can. You can walk into these barrels and push them. And by pushing a barrel onto this button, you can open that door on the other side of that iron fence there. Also, that woman waving that pot is the third enemy. That's the female villager. There are some stairs over there where the water is, but I don't want to deal with them later. Until later, I mean. Also, there's a merchant gargoyle in case we need it. So, now that I've done that, I actually need to go back. Because there's another place I can go to nearby. And it's right here. Let's try not to get horribly maimed. As we go in here, get the moon rune, and then go back to where he pushed the barrel around. Hey. Let's put the moon rune in the blue hand. Get away from her. And we can break all these barrels for gold. And we can also beat up all these rats. There are rats throughout the village, but I refrain from hitting any of them because, let's face it, I'm going to hit a villager, and I don't want to hit a villager. The villagers don't die instantly. It is going to take a couple of whacks from any weapon to kill a villager, but once you do it, you do lose energy on the chalice, and you don't want to do that. Also, I have the hammer because I'm going to go up these stairs, and I want to break one of these barrels. It's kind of hard to see them, but they're there. And get the Chaos Rune. Also, I want to read this. Bust of Mr. Shanks, landlord of the Troll's Head. To clean the statue, lower the pedestal. To do that, all you need to do, just use the Chaos Rune on that green hand, hit the barrels and the switch, so that way you can hit the switch with any weapon you have, and you should be able to lower the pedestal and get the landlord's bust. Now that we have the landlord's bust, we need to get on out of here before things get worse. And now that we've done that, we've got a cutscene.
Hurry, comrades, tear this place apart. If we don't find the shadow artifact, Lord Zarok will have us mocking out the demons for the next millennium.
And now that that's over with, we need to take care of the enemies here. Now, thankfully, the little girls running around with the axes, they won't show up anymore. That makes it easier to face these guys. Also, because I'm not being chased around anymore, I can go over here. There is a reason for this. There's a switch here. Be sure to walk, don't run, otherwise you'll just fall into the water. And by hitting that switch, we turn off the fountain, which will give us the Chaos Rune. So now that that's over with, we can just return over to where the fountain is. I believe we passed it earlier. And from there, we can beat up a bunch of soldiers. It takes a while for these guys to start shooting at you, but once they start shooting at you, they're pretty relentless about it. And it's not like the most fun thing in the world, so try not to get shot a whole bunch. Also, be sure not to have your weapon charged up when you go over here, because you can still run into this guy. Yeah, the little girls with the axes will disappear, but the other enemies, the men and the women, the other townspeople, will not. And you really don't want to lose energy on the chalice. You want to make it easier for yourself to get the chalice. And these guys can be pretty relentless with their guns. And I thought I had hit that guy with a completely charged up shot. Apparently I did not. But we are now up to 86, which is great. We've turned off the water. We've got the Chaos Rune, didn't we? Yeah, we picked it up. So now we need to go into the library. There are some books we can read, but I'm going to save them until later. So I'm just going to show you what you need to do. You need to run up to this bookshelf, and there's a slightly discolored bookshelf compared to the rest of them. You want to break through it with the Daring Dash or with a club or hammer. I prefer the Daring Dash. And you can get the Crucifix cast. I'm going to wait until later to read the books. Don't worry. Also, there's a book we didn't read when we were here. The rune key is held aloft by the flow of water from the fountain. You may have to wait for the next drought. Thankfully, there was a way to turn it off. It's the switch at the stairs near the water. Thankfully, we were able to find that switch and trigger it. So now, we have a Crucifix cast, and we need we have the Landlord bust. Actually, there is one book in particular that I want to read. And it's right here where the Crucifix cast is. I should have read that. To whom it may concern, I must make haste, for Zarok's men will be here within the hour. I have taken the crucifix from the church. It is the key to a key. I used a cross to make the attached cast, then I had it destroyed. It is my hope that this cast falls into the hands of a just and good hero. Signed, the town mayor. So, we have a cast, and we have something we can melt into the shape of a cross. So we need to go back to the beginning of the level. There is a building we have not been to yet, and I think it's right here. Let's go ahead and break the barrels here for some gold, because we can do that. The barrels respawn, but the gold does not. And there's a silver shield if you need it. And there's another book we can read. Blacksmith's Monthly. Old Man Willie Green of Gallows Town was awarded Smithy of the Season by our readers. His outstanding casts have produced many intricate and hard-wearing iron goods and sculptures. Willie only uses the finest of metals in his work, and is particularly noted for his magnificent busts. Old Man Willie was quoted as saying, "Aye, when I get pumping on me bellows, there's no stopping me. It's all in the rhythm, up and down, up and down. I've always been inspired by the stories of Stanya Ironhewer, the greatest smithy that ever there was." So, obviously, we need to use the blacksmith's tools in order to make that cross. So you want to stand right here, and you want to use the crucifix cast first. If you stand anywhere else, the game won't let you use it. Same with the landlord bust. You want to, now that you have the crafts in there, you can place the bust on top of it. There is a giant bellows that you can jump up and down on. When it goes down, jump up, keep on going. You'll have to do this several times, but you will eventually melt down the landlord's bust so that it fits into the cast, and you can mold the soon-to-be molten metal of what was once the bust into the shape of the cross. How am I doing on health? That's alright. Good. I haven't done dumb things with my health so far. That's a good thing. I should mention that, so we're going back to the church. You've probably already seen it when we were in the church, but there is an energy fountain there. I'll go ahead and refill there, and we jumped enough times on the bellows to make the cross, so let's take the cross. We now have the crucifix, as the game actually wants to call it. So let's go to the nearby church. Let's go ahead and fill up on health, because I can. And let's go up to the outline of the cross and use the crucifix. We now have the safe key. We now open that door in the park-like area there that we were at earlier. And we also have a book that we can read. Dear Sir or Madam, on my travels across Galamir, I have come across many mysterious and enchanting finds. However, that which filled me with deepest dread was discovery of the tomb of the Shadow Demons. The key to their dank prison, the mysterious shadow artifact, that sounds familiar, is now in my possession. That dress-wearing bully boy Zarok will stop at nothing to retrieve this item. I fear that already he knows that it is I who possess it. Yours, fearfully, the town mayor. So the mayor got out of Dodge before anything could happen. Thankfully, he was spared from the hypnosis of Zarok. So we now have the safe key. And we now need to go to the park, which thankfully isn't very far from here at all. We do need to watch out for the guy that just hit me. Whoops. Thankfully only hit me once. And by going into that door we just opened, we're able to go over here. We have... First of all, we have some guys right here. We can now open up a little shortcut to here, and we now have 95% of the energy for the chalice. I keep wanting to call the chalice the talisman for some reason. That's not what it's called. Also, there is gold here. Nice round 50 gold. By going through this little opening, you can get the chalice. We're not going to cut it quite yet because we're at 95. And there is a house that we can get into, but not the old-fashioned way. But if we get on the roof, we can jump into the chimney, and we can end up over here. By hitting this switch, we open the door. And we also open the end of the sleeping village. Let's jump on the table and get some gold. And let's face the safe and use the safe key. We now have the shadow artifact. So we can go back to the enchanted earth after this. And we can do things over there. We can finally get the other chalice and do all the things that we need to do over there. Now we need to go to the end. Wherever that may be. And I think... No, it's not right there. That's where the chalice is. It's one of these roads. Is this one. There we go. Now we got 4 of these guys, and we're going to be locked in with them. Thankfully, they're not any more difficult than the guys we've already beaten up. And let's try to avoid being shot. And maybe it's better if I did use the hammer for this bout, because you're facing more than 2 guys. So we got the exit opened. We have everything for the chalice. And we have this book that we can read. Instructions from Zarok to his guards. Capture that greedy profiteer, the town mayor. Take him to the asylum dungeons. Give the fat boy a good going over. Locate the shadow artifact. Bring me back something nice. I'm pretty sure the shadow artifact would also be something nice, given that Zarok wants it. Well, he's not going to have it because we have it now, and the town mayor got the thing in a safe before he got captured. So now that we are able to get the chalice, let's do that. Now, if we hit any of the townspeople and kill them, it won't count towards the chalice. The game will not suddenly take the chalice away from us. So that's good. With that said, we can finally go to the nearby library, if I can figure out where it is. There it is. And I can now read the books without getting beaten up. By the way, the game tells you a good soul has been lost if you accidentally or on purpose kill a townsperson. There are quite a few books here. I'm going to read these from, well, technically they're bottom to top, but from Sir Daniel Fortescue's perspective, they're from left to right. History of Gallowmere, Volume 1. During the dark time that was Gallomere's not too distant past, it was King Peregrine who thwarted Zarok the Necromancer in his plan to enslave the land. Zarok, once the king's mage, had fallen out of favor with the ruler for conducting outlandish experiments on the bodies of the dead. It was said that deep within Peregrine Castle, the dead were restless. The dead are to be honored, not kept as the playthings of alchemists, declared King Peregrine, as he banished Zarok from the castle. All of Zarok's living dead were rooted out and destroyed. Zarok, being an unforgiving soul, went into hiding and vowed to wreak his revenge on the king. History of Gallowmere, Volume 2. Rumors of ill-doing and dark deeds abounded through the land of Gallowmere. It was whispered that Zarok had employed the aid of shadowy demons to help build a vast castle. Under the cover of night, Zarok's dark army spilled force from their corrupt haven. The army marched south across the Silver Mountains and through the Silver Woods. Soon afterwards, even the Pumpkin Lands belonged to Zarok. The folks of Gallows Town cried out for help. "Save us, good King Peregrine!" Retaliation was swift and violent. King Peregrine's forces, led by the brave Sir Daniel Fortescue, drove Zarok's army back from Gallows Town. There was much rejoicing, but the war was not yet over. History of Gallowmere, Volume 3. News that Zarok's army had now taken the Floodlands caused much concern. From this vantage point, Zarok could march west to take the Enchanted Forest. The sacred place would prove a bitter defeat if it fell into the hands of the evil sorcerer. It was Sir Dan Fortescue who once again led the king's militia to rid the demon host from the land. Yet the evil wizard was cunning and had prepared an ambush. A titanic battle ensued of which history has never since seen the like. History of Gallowmere, Volume 4. The forces of evil were destroyed, but at a terrible price. None but a handful of the king's militia returned from that field. Gallowmere lost a whole generation of young men that day, including Canny Tim, the legendary crossbowman and Fortescue's second-in-command, who fell in the first volley of arrows. Zarok's body was never found, so if it lies unmourned in an unmarked grave, then no one in Gallowmere would shed a tear. Sadly, it's been proven that Zarok is still very much alive. The shadow demons that had fallen under Zarok's banner were unnatural creatures that did not belong in the world of mortal men. The king declared that they be banished, entombed under the pure earth of the enchanted earth. Imprisoned within an impregnable box of the king's design, the demons were buried deep underground. Their tomb was sealed with a magical device that has since come to be known as a shadow artifact. And there's a few more books to be read. Heroes from History, a retrospective. Chapter 1. In addition to being the strongest man who ever lived, Stanyer Ironhewer was unsurpassed in his skill as a blacksmith. He was equally happy pounding on his anvil at home as he was pounding on someone's head in battle. It was said that his only fear was the end of the village smithy at the focus of manufacture in favor of more centralized units. As if. Chapter 2. Born a humble peasant to one of the nomadic tribes from the Eastlands, Bloodbanath Skull Cleaver gathered an army of horsemen and swept over half the civilized world. When he finally died, attempting a single-handed attack on a garrison in the north while armed with only the spike on his helmet, he was the richest and most powerful peasant of his day. Chapter 3. Karl Sterngard spent most of his formative years under siege at his family castle. With its impregnable magic shield, Sterngard's motto was, "The best form of attack is defense." Sadly, his shield couldn't protect him against poor eating habits, and he died during a post-battle feast while swallowing a large sausage he had failed to chew. Chapter 4. Truly the hero's hero, Woden the Mighty, was fearless, single-minded, and uncompromising. Unbeaten in combat, he inspired raw fear in friends and enemies alike, not to mention in close family members and pets. Chapter 5. Trained from birth in all forms of combat, Imanzi Shangama was the warrior queen of the tribe of Amazons. She's the woman who gave us that spear. The bold and the beautiful Shangama banished all males from her territory except the handful she kept on to mow the lawns of her people. Chapter 6. A full-time mother and homemaker, Megwin Stormbinder had to defend her settlement from barbarian raiders while the menfolk were away on a hunting trip. She fought off repeated attacks armed only with a pitchfork and a rolling pin and with one arm holding her baby. Legend has it that the gods, impressed by her indomitable courage, intervened and added thunderbolts to her arsenal. She won the battle with a couple of bolts to spare and her husband when he finally returned. Chapter 7. Dirk Steadfast was a fearsome opponent thanks to his magic sword and a firmly held belief that only women defend themselves. Real men are always on the attack. He was a friend and contemporary of Karl Sterngard and was with him even to the end. It was while Steadfast was explaining his views on Sterngard's shield during a feast that the latter had his tragic and inexplicable accident. Apparently, Dirk Steadfast did not know the Heimlich maneuver. Chapter 8. Descended from the finest centaur bloodstock, Ravenhooves the Archer was the last prince of his people. A proud and haughty aristocrat, we could tell. He was an accomplished hunter, sportsman, duelist, playboy, raconteur, and 3 times Derby winner. Nice. Chapter 9. Captain of the militia in the time of King Peregrine, Sir Daniel Fortescue found fame when he killed the renegade wizard Zarok. A career soldier raised in the royal household, he was adored by the men under his command and renowned for his loyalty to Gallowmere. It was said that Fortescue was always destined for greatness, with a square jaw, steely gaze, and thick shock of hair as black as raven's wings. He looked every inch the hero. Well, at least we know what the guy used to look like. A little bit. Apparently he used to have black hair before he died. Tourist Guide to Galamir, Part 1. The land of Galamir is a wondrous land of breathtaking sights and adventure. If it's beauty you are looking for, be sure to check out the sights of the Enchanted Forest. Scale the heights and see the nests of giant dragon birds. Seek out weird and wonderful plant life that may kill you. Go ooh and ah at the sight of baby dragon toads splashing about in the crystal clear ponds. They may also try to kill you. Why not take a walk through the Pumpkin Valley? Pumpkin is Galamir's favorite dish, and about now the valley is just bulging under the weight of young podlings awaiting harvest. They almost killed us. And now we have one more book, and it's just volume 2 of the Galamir Tourism Guide. Tourist Guide to Galamir, Part 2. If it's mystery you're looking for, then the seasoned adventurer should travel to the ruins of King Peregrine's castle. Yes, this is the fortress from which the fabled King Peregrine once hailed. It is said that the king's crown was lost in the dungeons below the castle, and that the ghost of the regent himself now haunts these cold stone passageways. Spooky. Why not take to the swamps and seek out the mythical town of Mellowmead? This place was once said to be a place of fantastical arcane alchemy, but an age has passed since it was consumed by the murky swamps. Perhaps great treasure awaits any adventurer that can locate its watery resting place. And there we go. I just spent a bunch of minutes reading books because I can. Because we all know I'm not coming back here. So, we have the chalice. Good. We have the shadow artifact. Also good. Let's get on out of here and then go to the Hall of Heroes. Glad I have the chalice. I do not want to forget it here. And do you say anything else? I should have. Well, alright.
Back and forth like a supernatural yo-yo. Maybe the master will make it harder to find those magic egg cups.
Ah, you do say something new. Wonderful. Well, we might as well go back upstairs and see what we can get. You've given us some sweet... Oh, hey, hi.
Ah, Herr Fortescue, you are back on the battlefield, yeah? This is good. People say to me, Sturngard, what do you think of this sword or that axe? But I say to them, nein! Modern warfare is a question of science, the science of shields. I think maybe you should take my shield, yeah? It is magic, Herr Fortescue. Some say it is better to have a magic sword than a magic shield, but I say to you that this is rubbish.
Well, it's not like he's gonna use it.
So long as you use it properly, the shield will make you invincible.
And we now have the gold shield, which has even more protective ability than the silver one. So, we're doing alright for ourselves in terms of shields. So, now that we have the gold shield, we have something useful. We paid homage to Carl Sterngard. Let's go ahead and leave and save our game and see where else we can go to. That would be great. Had to get a drink of tea there, but that's alright. This area. Apparently we're going to be in a bit of a hedge maze in this next area. However, we do have the shadow artifact. I don't know where to go next, but I'll definitely have to make my decision before we tackle whatever it is that we tackle in the next video. Join me next time where we continue Sir Daniel Fortescue's afterlife adventure. I may go to the next area, the Asylum grounds. Or I may go to the Enchanted Earth. It's all up to me. So until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!